Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The descendants of one individual. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Jupiter was the origin of the radiation. Properties attributable to your ancestry. He comes from good origins. An event that is a beginning, a first part or stage of subsequent events. The point of intersection of coordinate axes, where the values of the coordinates are all zero. The source of something's existence or from which it derives or is derived. The rumor had its origin in idle gossip. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. The descendants of one individual. A dissolute man in fashionable society. The descendants of one individual. People viewed as members of a group. We need more young blood in this organization. Smear with blood, as in a hunting initiation rite, where the face of a person is smeared with the blood of the kill. Temperament or disposition. A person of hot blood. The fluid, red invertebrates, that is pumped through the body by the heart and contains plasma, blood cells, and platelets. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to the tissues and carries away waste products. The descendants of one individual. The descendants of one individual. Ancestry of a purebred animal. A downward slope or bend. The descendants of one individual. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. Properties attributable to your ancestry. A movement downward. The act of changing your location in a downward direction. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. The descendants of one individual. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. The number of lines in a piece of printed material. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. A rate of payment for written material that is measured according to the number of lines submitted. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. The state of being a parent. The kinship relation of an offspring to the parents. The descendants of one individual. The descendants of one individual. Ancestry of a purebred animal. Having a list of ancestors as proof of being a purebred animal. Line of descent of a purebred animal. An eye having a single lens. The descendants of one individual. A tree diagram showing a reconstruction of the transmission of manuscripts of a literary work. The handle of a handgun or the butt end of a rifle or shotgun are part of the support of a machine gun or artillery gun. The rifle had been fitted with a special stock. The merchandise that a shop has on hand. Persistent thickened stem of herbaceous perennial plant. Any of several Old World plants cultivated for their brightly colored flowers. Repeated too often. Overfamiliar through overuse. A stalk answer. Put forth and grow sprouts or shoots. The descendants of one individual. Any of various ornamental flowering plants of the genus Malcolmia. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. Have on hand. A supply of something available for future use. Any animals kept for use or profit. A certificate documenting the shareholder's ownership in the corporation. The value of his stocks doubled during the past year. Amass so as to keep for future use or sale or for a particular occasion or use. Let's stock coffee as long as prices are low. Regularly and widely used or sold. A stock item. Liquid in which meat and vegetables are simmered, used as a basis for e.g. soups or sauces. She made gravy with a base of beef stock. An ornamental white cravat. A plant or stem onto which a graft is made, especially a plant grown specifically to provide the root part of grafted plants. Equip with a stock. Stock a rifle. Lumber used in the construction of something. They will cut round stock to 1-inch diameter. Provide or furnish with a stock of something. Stock the larder with meat. Routine. A stock answer. Supply with fish. Stock a lake. Supply with livestock. Stock a farm. The capital raised by a corporation through the issue of shares entitling holders to an ownership interest, equity. He owns a controlling share of the company's stock. The handle end of some implements or tools. He grabbed the cue by the stalk. The reputation and popularity a person has. His stock was so high he could have been elected mayor. Serving to begin. The beginning canto of the poem. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. The Italian beginning of the Renaissance. The act of starting something. He was responsible for the beginning of negotiations. The event consisting of the start of something. The beginning of the war. The first part or section of something. It was a dark and stormy night, is a hackneyed beginning for a story. A simple form inferred as the common basis from which related words in several languages can be derived by linguistic processes. Someone from whom you are descended, but usually more remote than a grandparent. Become settled or established and stable in one's residence or lifestyle. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The set of values that give a true statement when substituted into an equation. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Communism's Russian root. Dig with the snout. The pig was rooting for truffles. A number that, when multiplied by itself some number of times, equals a given number. Botany, the usually underground organ that lacks buds or leaves or nodes, absorbs water and mineral salts. Usually it anchors the plant to the ground. Cause to take roots. Cheer for. She roots for the Broncos. Come into existence, originate. The problem roots in her depression. Plant by the roots. Take root and begin to grow. This plant roots quickly. The embedded part of a bodily structure such as a tooth, nail, or hair. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. A developed system of roots. Fixedness by or as if by roots. Strengthened by rootage in the firm soil of faith. A publication, or a passage from a publication, that is referred to. He spent hours looking for the source of that quotation. Someone who originates or causes or initiates something. Anything, a person or animal or plant or substance, in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Pittsburgh is the source of the Ohio River. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. A person who supplies information. A document, or organization, from which information is obtained. The reporter had two sources for the story. A facility where something is available. Get, a product, from another country or business. She sourced a supply of carpet. Specify the origin of. The writer carefully sourced her report. Technology, a process by which energy or a substance enters a system. A heat source. Properties attributable to your ancestry. The action of taking out something, especially using effort or force. The dentist gave her a local anesthetic prior to the extraction. The process of obtaining something from a mixture or compound by chemical or physical or mechanical means. An event that is a beginning, a first part or stage of subsequent events. The act of starting something for the first time, introducing something new. An event that is a beginning, a first part or stage of subsequent events. Successive generations of kin. Successive generations of kin. The study or investigation of ancestry and family history. Be oriented. The weather vane points north. Sail close to the wind. Repair the joints of bricks. Point a chimney. Any of 32 horizontal directions indicated on the card of a compass. He checked the point on his compass. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Her behavior points to a severe neurosis. A specific identifiable position in a continuum or series or especially in a process. A distinct part that can be specified separately in a group of things that could be enumerated on a list. The main point on the agenda was taken up first. An outstanding characteristic. His acting was one of the high points of the movie. A V shape. The cannibal's teeth were filed to sharp points. A contact in the distributor. As the rotor turns, its projecting arm contacts them and current flows to the spark plugs. The dot at the left of a decimal fraction. Direct into a position for use. Point a gun. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He pointed to the empty parking space. The property of a shape that tapers to a sharp tip. The gun muzzle's direction. He held me up at the point of a gun. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. The point of the arrow was due north. An isolated fact that is considered separately from the whole. A point of information. A wall socket. An instant of time. At that point I had to leave. A very small circular shape. A row of points. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Give a point to. Intend something, to move towards a certain goal. A punctuation mark, placed at the end of a declarative sentence to indicate a full stop or after abbreviations. A brief version of the essential meaning of something. Get to the point. A distinguishing or individuating characteristic. He knows my bad points as well as my good points. A geometric element that has position but no extension. A point is defined by its coordinates. A linear unit used to measure the size of type, approximately 1/72 inch. A promontory extending out into a large body of water. They sailed south around the point. A style in speech or writing that arrests attention and has a penetrating or convincing quality or effect. Be positionable in a specified manner. The gun points with ease. Indicate the presence of game by standing and pointing with the muzzle. The dog pointed the dead duck. Mark, a psalm text, to indicate the points at which the music changes. Mark, Hebrew words, with diacritics. Mark with diacritics. Point the letter. 1% of the total principal of a loan. It is paid at the time the loan is made and is independent of the interest on the loan. Sharp end. He stuck the point of the knife into a tree. The object of an activity. What is the point of discussing it? The precise location of something, a spatially limited location. She walked to a point where she could survey the whole street. The unit of counting in scoring a game or contest. He scored 20 points in the first half. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. Historical linguistics, an explanation of the historical origins of a word or phrase. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. A line of reasoning that shows how a conclusion follows logically from accepted propositions. Descriptive linguistics, the process whereby new words are formed from existing words or bases by affixation. Singer, from sing, or undo, from do, are examples of derivations. Drawing of fluid or inflammation away from a diseased part of the body. Drawing off water from its main channel as for irrigation. The act of deriving something or obtaining something from a source or origin. The source or origin from which something derives, i.e., comes or issues. He prefers shoes of Italian derivation. The set of elements common to two or more sets. The set of red hats is the intersection of the set of hats and the set of red things. A junction where one street or road crosses another. A point where lines intersect. A representation of common ground between theories or phenomena. A point or set of points common to two or more geometric configurations. The act of intersecting, as joining by causing your path to intersect your target's path. People in general, often used in the plural. They're just country folk. People descended from a common ancestor. The traditional and typically anonymous music that is an expression of the life of people in a community. A social division of, usually preliterate, people. The month following August and preceding October. People descended from a common ancestor. People descended from a common ancestor. People descended from a common ancestor. A social unit living together. He moved his family to Virginia. People descended from a common ancestor. His family has lived in Massachusetts since the Mayflower. A loose affiliation of gangsters in charge of organized criminal activities. A person having kinship with another or others. He's family. An association of people who share common beliefs or activities. The message was addressed not just to employees but to every member of the company family. A collection of things sharing a common attribute. Primary social group, parents and children. He wanted to have a good job before starting a family. Biology, a taxonomic group containing one or more genera. Sharks belong to the fish family.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.